welcome to Mid-American Gardener. I'm your host, Tanisha Spain, and this week we're getting out of the studio. We're going to take you to the 2022 CU Plant People Plant Swap. But first, we visited the Japan House on the U of I campus to get a look at the cherry blossoms that were in bloom this spring. During our visit, former Japan House Director Kamiko Gunji talked about the life cycle and the popularity of those cherry blossoms.
Cherry blossom has been admired in Japan, from ancient times. Japan, as you know, is an elongated island. So then, from the northern part to the southern part, early part of March started southern part all the way to the maybe mid-April. Cherry blossoms start blooming, and people just love seeing this cherry blossom because, as you can see, it's a pale pink and. The nature of the cherry blossoms, when it blooms, so gorgeous. But once it's bloomed, the strong wind, rain, and just started falling down just as now. But yet, even after on the ground, it's so gorgeous. Yeah. So people loved it, and just people around here also acquire that taste. So that's how kind of attraction around. I would say Champaign-Urbana community. So that become a very important part of the spring activity of Japan House. Cherry blossom blooms so gorgeously, but never stays long, just like our life, right? So then when it's beautifully blooming, why not enjoy the ephemeral quality that people, I think, cherish. You cannot, I can wait until next week. No, it's gone. So it's when it's really blooming, they want to enjoy, just like, to the fullest bloom. So they kind of superimpose our life into cherry blossom. So buds, baby, and then sprout, and then we have to all gone. But how beautifully live your life just like a cherry blossom. It might be short, but enjoy as much as you can.
And if you missed out on seeing them this year, check out our website for a cool 360 tour of the cherry trees and the full interview we did with Professor Gunji. It was my first time visiting, and the trees there were absolutely breathtaking. And now we're going to go to the Spring Plant Swap at Common Ground in Urbana, where hundreds of eager gardeners came in search of all things green. Take a look. As you can see, we are out of the studio and at this year's annual CU Plant People Plant Swap in Urbana. And judging by the size of the crowd back there, things are going really well. I've got my buddy Jen here, and she brought some things to talk about here at the Plant Swap. Some things you'll recognize and some new things. So before we get into all that, Jen, introduce yourself, please, and tell us where we can find you.
Sure. I'm Jen Nelson. You can find me online. I'm a horticulturalist at groundedandgrowing.com. You can also find me on campus teaching Hort 105 vegetable gardening.
I'm like going to be squirming in my chair the whole time because I want to get back there and see what's going on. So where do you want to start? Because you've got a lot of stuff. Can we start with the mushrooms?
Yes, we can start with the
mushrooms.
Thank you.
So if you remember, Jen started these with her class in February, right?
Yeah, about the end of February.
They were on a toilet paper roll, and she's going to walk you through the sort of finished products. And you guys have been harvesting and eating these, and it's a whole thing.
It's a thing.
Okay.
It's developed quite a following. So we started out in February. We put the spawn on toilet paper rolls, and we let it grow kind of onto the toilet paper rolls for about 3 weeks. And so post spring break, we took them out of the just regular classroom and put them in a cold room for a couple days, and then students started taking them home. And so then you take them out of the cold room and expose them to air and regular temperatures, and they're growing massively fast. And these are called gray dove oyster mushrooms. These are just starting to get going. They will get quite big, and I know we have some pictures that you guys are going to put up to show some of the stuff that our students have been growing. We had 3 different varieties, so there's 3 different colors and slightly different shapes, but I've been so loving seeing what they're doing with them. Like I've seen some deep fried battered mushrooms made into tacos and all sorts of different
like a
dishes.
Pasta dish or something looking.
Yes. So I mean, there's unleashing all kinds of creativity here. So these are supposed to be able to produce for a couple, 3 months.
Okay.
You can
on the same roll?
On the same roll
Wow.
before it exhausted, and you're supposed to put it back into the fridge for a couple of days to give it a rest and then bring it back out again. Generally, we don't have the bag folded back like this, but you mist them a couple times a day to keep them nice and humid. You don't want them to dry out, and they grow really fast once they start showing up like that.
So these right here, this is the part you actually harvest to eat,
Yeah.
not this?
Not this.
Not
no.
that part.
Yeah, it's.
How big will these get? I mean, good size?
I mean, the biggest one I harvested was probably like the size of my palm.
Okay.
So
And once you start to give them air and they start to grow, how long does it take to get to that size?
a week or two.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and it becomes kind of a trick to figure out exactly the right time to harvest them. But once they stop growing, definitely if you notice the edges starting to get dry, it's time to get them harvested.
Wow. So cool. And we've already had people stopping by asking,
Yeah, what the heck
what's
is
in
that?
there? What's in there? There's been a lot of interest. So awesome. Awesome.
Thanks.
Okay. So you said you can harvest these or use these for a few months before they're exhausted. Now, when you want to start a new batch, do you have to throw this roll out or can you just add more
There's not going
spores?
to be any more because it's digesting the paper.
Oh, got
So
it.
there's not going to be anything left to digest. So they do suggest that you just throw this whole thing in your compost pile.
Got it. So
Mushroom
they will break
compost,
down the whole
yeah.
roll of toilet paper.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm curious when mine is done, just to cut
Yes.
into it and see what
I
it looks
would,
like
for
inside.
sure.
Oh, yeah. Why not?
Yes, yes, yes. That's the scientist in
Right,
me.
right.
Awesome. Very cool. Okay.
Thanks.
Moving on to the next thing. I'll let you choose since I picked the mushrooms. What do you want to talk about next?
Okay, I'll talk about this crazy contraption.
Got
So I have heard a lot of things about the brand Smart Pot, and I've never actually bought one. And I was out at our local thrift store, and I found one. It was a milk crate liner by Smart Pot that was never used, and obviously someone had great gardening aspirations, like we all do, and sometimes stuff just falls to the
And it
back of
didn't
the
happen.
garage or whatever. So it came to my garage, and I decided I'm going to try it. I thought it was square like what's on the package, but it was a rectangle, and I was like, oh, I do have a rectangle crate, and it fit perfectly. So it's a thicker sort of felt liner, very similar to a reusable shopping bag, but it's going to be more durable. Is what I've tried doing container gardens with reusable shopping bags, and they break down after about a year. This is supposed to be able to be reused.
Gotcha. And you do a lot of container gardening at home.
Yeah, I do.
When we visited in the past, you
I do.
seem to have a good success rate with
I
it.
like doing it. It's simple. It's easy. You can move stuff around. We're doing something like this with the vegetable gardening class. We do this in the greenhouse with a little bit bigger containers, but the idea that lots of people don't have the room to just till up the back 40.
Yeah.
Lots of people have a balcony, so we're going to do some different greens in here for early spring.
I was just going to ask, what gardener is this for? The space limited gardener,
Definitely the space limited gardener, the college gardener,
Yes.
The time limited gardener,
The balcony
too.
gardener.
The balcony gardener. Yeah, the frantically busy gardener,
Yes,
all of the
yes.
above.
Now, will the roots permeate through this, do you think?
I think they will. I have some containers, those tomato containers that you've seen at my house before, have a liner like this, and the roots do get into it somewhat. Once the plant dies off, and I kind of rinse it off, and then in the spring, all those roots have dried out enough, I can pull most of them out.
Gotcha.
But
So
it's
not a
nothing
big
to worry
problem.
about.
What's growing in here right now?
We have a little bit of spinach planted, but I don't have the whole thing planted. We'll probably do
okay.
the rest of that today. I was planning for spinach, lettuce, and some radishes.
Nice.
Yeah, radishes and carrots mixed together because the radishes will be done before the carrots, and carrots take forever
they
to start
do.
to germinate. So
They do.
to get
They
some
do.
instant feedback, we'll put some radishes that sprout in 2 days.
Excellent. Just so you know, things are going all right in there. Okay?
Yeah.
So you visited the tables back there
I did.
and grabbed.
I restrained
one-
myself.
It's hard. We are trying really hard not to go grab everything that's over there.
Right.
So tell us about this plant and why you picked it to talk about.
Oh, this is a Rex begonia, and it caught my eye. Rex begonias are typically grown not for their flowers. There are begonias that are grown for their beautiful flowers, but Rex begonias are planted for their foliage, and they usually have interesting patterns or shapes. And this one was labeled as escargot, which as these leaves mature, this sort of inner edge will grow and kind of curl around, so it looks like a snail shell when the leaf is mature, and it looks really cool. And I have been too cheap to buy one, I'll be honest. And so I was really excited to see this on the swap table. It's coming home with me.
It's a win.
Thank you, CU plant person
Yes.
who put this on the table.
Yes, whoever brought that, thank you so much. I did snag some Mexican sunflowers earlier.
Those are fun.
So the first time I saw them was out at Diane Nolan's house.
Yeah.
And she had this huge patch of them, and I just fell in love.
Those are so great, and I really need to get mine going so that, because
Are they annual? Or do they reseed?
the ones that I know are annual, but they
Okay.
kind of take a little bit to get going. And mine were starting to look really fabulous, and then it was like, oh, frost. Sorry.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that. Well, hopefully things are going to warm up, right?
Hopefully, we hope. We've
hopefully.
heard. Rumors have it.
There's a huge box over there of jade succulents, and there's a ton of succulents over there. But I just grabbed a few of these petals because I know you love succulents.
I do.
So if someone was to grab these and want to take these home, what is some good Jen advice to have a happy, healthy start?
There's two ways for jade. So one way would be like this has some stem. With any succulent, if it's a fresh cut like this, you want to let it dry out before you do anything with it, because succulents have so much water in them that, and if it's a fresh cut end, that's an invitation for things like fungus and bacteria to invade and just rot it all away. So let it callus over is the technical term. So make sure that's dry, and then you could just stick that in a little bit of your cactus mix, your succulent mix, and you don't even necessarily have to do the little greenhouse with a Ziploc. You probably shouldn't with a succulent because you don't want them to be overly wet.
Got it.
You can do the same thing with a leaf. Just make sure that leaf cut end is dry like we did with the stem, and just kind of barely put that end in the soil, and a new plant will emerge right about there, right from that point.
So the petal, this won't survive. This is the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, that won't survive, but it'll provide some support because it's green and it can photosynthesize, and roots will start to form, and then a new plant will form. But eventually this will wither away.
Yeah.
But jade's one of the easiest ones. Sometimes I find mine will lose a couple leaves, like the kids knock into it or whatever, and they'll start growing roots just laying.
Oh, yes.
Like they're not even
on
in
the floor
anything.
or
Yeah, it's
something.
laying
Yes.
on the floor.
Yes.
Exactly.
They are survivors. And is this a fave? I saw you
It just
grab
looked
this.
interesting. I am such a sucker for plants that look unusual, and it's a speckled lettuce. And there's red lettuce and there's green lettuce, but this was like both.
That is
and
pretty.
So yeah, and
It's pretty.
We forget that a lot of the things that we plant for eating also have ornamental value. So I could see that being in like a border with some spring flowers or whatever. Like mix it
I
in the
see.
landscape. You don't have to have like a dedicated
That's
vegetable
true.
gardening. I
I
love
love when
mixing
people
stuff.
use kale.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name of it, but the big, beautiful red ones that you see a lot of
Yes.
times in arrangements.
Yes.
It's just like,
and those are totally
I wonder if
edible.
they're going to eat that.
right.
Well, as we get to the point where it's time to start transplanting, time to start, really, well, if the weather cooperates.
Right. Decide
What tips do you have? Do you do a lot of like soil amendments in your beds to get things ready, or do you just kind of clean them off and go for it?
I kind of pay attention to how things have done the previous year, and I try to take pictures of what things looked like at the end of last year to remind myself, because this time of year you go to things like this and you're like, yeah, give me all the plants.
Yep.
And if you don't have a plan of where they're going to realistically fit, you can get into trouble, which I've gotten into trouble.
We've all been
lots
there.
of times. Yeah, I don't, as far as amendments go, I don't do soil testing every year, but I use like my worm compost. This will be the time of year that I empty it out. And so when I'm planting annuals, I try to mix in a little worm compost in.
Just kind of as you go.
Kind of as I go.
Okay.
Yeah, and definitely, like when I do my vegetable garden, I will like incorporate sometimes a granular fertilizer or something like that. Whatever I have around and readily available.
And then one more question I had is, how important is it to rotate in beds or in your garden or wherever? Is that something that we really should be paying attention to?
Yes.
And why?
Oh, definitely should be paying attention to for a few reasons. One being diseases. There's certain diseases that can build up in soil and reinfect the plant plant the next year, like tomatoes. There's a number of fungal diseases on the leaves that get onto the plant in the first place by splashing up from the soil. So rotating and having something not in the tomato family in that spot the following year can help. It doesn't necessarily eliminate it, but it can help. And some crops will be really particularly draining on like one nutrient, like say corn uses up a lot of nitrogen. So that's why we see corn and soybeans alternated in the fields around here. So the soybeans will replenish the nitrogen.
Got it.
So things like that.
So not only for disease, but just overall.
Overall soil health.
Soil health. Excellent. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to go peruse.
Okay.
And see what's going on back there. So let's go see what's going on back at the plant swap. Oh man, this is a yes for me. Mexican sunflowers, are you kidding? These are the ones that Diane had at her house, and they were incredible. All right, so we are out perusing the tables at the plant swap, and we're stopping here now to talk to Jess from Plantify. If you're gonna get the plants, you gotta get the stuff, right, that goes with it. So tell us a little bit about what you've got here today.
One thing we're emphasizing today is a lot of our locally made items. We have a lot of macrame here that a local girl makes for us. Her name is Macy. She's also doing a workshop sometime in May, I believe.
Oh, to teach others?
Yeah, to teach others how to kind of do what she makes for us here to sell locally. Yep. Also, another item is these Stronghaven planters. A local gentleman makes them. They're like a fiber cement material.
Very cool.
But yeah, they even have a little stamp, locally made, Champaign, Illinois. So yeah, we have a couple items here. It's just kind of a random variety of some items that we have, but
very cool.
Yeah, just here.
So do you guys get out often and get to do events like this?
We try.
Yeah.
We whatever we can kind of get ourselves involved in, we like to do that and just kind of engage with the community, just because we're all plant lovers ourselves who work there. So yeah, we just kind of like to meet the people that we tend to engage with online, with the CU Plant People group even. But yeah, we're just happy to be here and meeting new people, especially. So.
Is this your first time coming to the CU Plant Swap?
Oh no, I went to the first one that we did in February 2020.
In Urbana, at the library.
Yeah, we've done a few since. So yeah, we did the one in Urbana. We did a couple at Sola Gracia. I was there for those. I'm actually an admin of the CU Plant People group as well with Lauren. So we kind of have been a part of a couple of those events in the past.
Very cool.
But yeah, we get to partner with the Common Ground this time. So we're excited to be here, like I said, with them and just kind of merge the best of both worlds with Plantify, Common Ground, and the seed swap and the group. So.
That's right. When you get the plants, you got to have the stuff. It goes together beautifully.
We got it.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. This says Sky Racer Ornamental Grass.
Oh, okay. Because my Asian irises pop up the same way.
Looking just,
And they look exactly the same.
Ornamental grasses. Finally, we're able to catch up with the busiest woman, the busiest plant lady in CU. Lauren Quinn is here. You recognize her from being a panelist on our show, being a guest on our show, but she is also, this is her brainchild, these plant swaps, CU Plant People. This is her baby, right? So let's talk a little bit about that, the history, just brief history and kind of where we are today with the plant swap.
Yeah, so in early 2020, right before the pandemic, I got a wild hair and thought it would be great to kind of share my love of plants, my burgeoning love of indoor house plants with the community and to see if there's anybody else out there who might want to trade plants with me. So I put up flyers around town and made a Facebook event and invited people out to the Urbana Free Library basement, and we had our first plant swap and it was a big success. And then after that, we brought the group online on our Facebook page, and it's
become
growing.
a whole thing,
yes.
as you can tell by the shirt
merch,
and the mask.
yes, we have
and your
merch.
button. You don't have your button
I don't
on
have my
today.
button. I don't feel like I needed it because I've got all the other things.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. So we've only missed. We've been at almost every plant swap. We missed one, but the number of people that are showing up to these and bringing things to trade.
Yeah.
I mean, would you say it's exponential growth?
I think so. Yeah. I can never really estimate the number of people that come because I'm just not good at that sort of thing. But yeah, I'd say it was very big today. We had a lot of turnout, and of course, collaborating for the first time with the food co-op here in town and Plantify, and kind of bringing all these entities together was really helpful because then we were able to pull from their audiences as well. Sure. So, and then being here in the what do you call this place? Lincoln Square Mall. People are just walking through from market and stuff like that. So there's just a lot of extra foot traffic, and
so you're getting some organic people, some new people.
Yes.
The regulars.
Yeah.
Today just seems like a really big success.
Definitely.
Anything so far that stood out as far as like plants or things that people brought? Has anything caught your eye today?
Well, I'm always about the Hoyas, as you know,
yes.
but I didn't actually bring any home. I brought a couple, but I traded those out. I ended up with a variegated African violet, which I was sort of interested in getting, and then a lipstick plant, the Mona Lisa lipstick plant. Someone brought that for me specifically, and I traded her back a Hoya. So
Nice.
I'm about to complete my lipstick plant collection, I think, now. So very excited.
Awesome. So what's in the future for CU Plant People? What are you thinking ahead?
We'll probably do another swap in the fall, or early fall, late summer, and yeah, we'll just keep it going online.
So for people who are not familiar with the group, CU Plant People, you're on Facebook,
Yes,
right? And that's you can just search that. And Lauren, again, she's one of the administrators there.
Yep.
And then for folks who are watching this and haven't been able to come to a swap, if they're preparing or thinking about coming to the one in the fall, what tips do you have for them?
Well, we want to bring, of course, healthy plants that are, doing well, or cuttings are perfectly welcome as well. Something that's not full of pests or diseases or things like that. Just bring your labeled plants that you want to trade for, and we welcome sort of the common stuff, your pothos, your spider plants, but also kind of more interesting, rare things as well that are like treasures that people can really get excited about. So.
And I've seen trowels, I've seen hoses, I've seen planters.
Right.
People are bringing stuff now too, which is great.
Right.
Because if you get the plants, you need the tools to go with it. So I've trays and seed liners and all kinds of stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. What feedback have you gotten from folks today?
Oh, just really happy to be among other plant people, and especially since we're all really active in the group, but then to see everybody in person is always really nice.
Yes.
Even with the masks.
Even with the mask,
Yeah.
yes. All right, Lauren, well, I know you're busy and you got a lot to do, so thank you for stopping
Sure.
in, and we're going to peruse the tables and see what we can find.
Great.
All right,
Thank you.
Okay, so tell us what brought you out today.
I've just recently, in the last couple months, found an interest in plants. And I have a friend who's with me today who has got me interested in plants as well. So I just wanted to see what it was all about and find some new plants.
Awesome. So this is your first time attending one of their plant swaps?
Yes.
How'd you hear about it? Are you a member of the group?
Yeah, on CU Plant People on Facebook, I found out about it. So I thought it would be fun to come to.
Awesome. So what's in there? What goodies do you have?
I picked up a jade.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. Some golden pothos cuttings, which I'm planning on propagating.
Nice.
And another plant, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I'm excited.
It looks sort of like a jadey family.
Yeah.
I'm not
Looks
an
cool,
expert.
but-
I'm just the host. So
Yeah.
you got some good stuff in there.
Yeah.
Are you going back for anything else, or is this it? Is this your haul?
I might look around some more, but yeah, we'll see.
So what do you think about events like this where people can come together and it doesn't cost you anything and you can sort of feed that plant addiction?
Yeah, I think it's really cool that it's giving people the opportunity to get new plants. Maybe they don't have enough money or something, but they can trade with other people and find new things. And,
Yes.
yeah, interact with other people too.
And I also find it fascinating that you're 14
Yeah.
and you're here on a Saturday morning
Yep.
getting plants with old ladies like me, right?
Yeah.
Plants have now transcended the age, right? It's for everybody. Everybody's into plants. So what was your first plant that got you sort of started?
I got a Marble Queen pothos from, I believe, Plant Mode, and his name is Arthur. So
Oh,
yeah. Still have him in my
Arthur.
room. He's doing really well. So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with your new plants.
Thank
and
you.
So glad you came out. And they're going to do another one in the fall. So make sure you
Okay.
watch out for that one.
I will.
All right.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
stopping by.
Yeah.
This is my find of the day. Well, that'll do it for us here at the Spring 2022 CU Plant People Plant Swap. Say that 3 times fast. Thanks to Jen for coming out and hanging out with us today, and all the folks that we got to chat with here at the swap. As you can see, there's still so much going on behind us. Lots of plants for folks to take home. If you have any questions for our plant experts, drop us a line at yourgarden@gmail.com, or you can search for us on Facebook. Just look for Mid-American Gardener, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Good night.